give them a chance to respond to my comment.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Queen? Mr. Queen was on the Board of Education from what year did you be?
80 to 92.
80 to 92. So, and so for some of that time, you were on the board with Mr. DeWeese.
Yeah, for my last 8 years. That's telling on you, isn't it?
Would you recant some older
Oh,
days?
you want me to talk? Take Let's talk. I'm gonna go up there where I can hold on to this thing. Since I got the new horn, I need to hold on to stuff. Lewis called me today, and I thought he might be calling me because he knows how old I am and I might forget the meeting, but talked, and it really stirred up some memories for me, things that I hadn't thought about in years and years. And he told me, he said, I'd like for you to kind of take a little trip down memory lane and let the board members that are here now know what we dealt with a long time ago. 27 years ago, I was sitting right where Lewis is at. My last meeting was in December 1992. And that was my last board meeting after 12 years. 6 of those I served as chairman. And I hadn't been to a board meeting in 27 years.
We're glad to have you back.
This is my first board meeting in 27 years. But I got to thinking back today about those times. And when I got elected, I was the youngest, so I was told. I was the youngest guy that would ever been elected to Board of Education. I was 30 years old. And I had gotten out of, Ed Dunn hired me. I coached at West Fannin for a couple of years. And then went to Copper Basin's head football coach, athletic director there. And I got out of education and went with TVA where I spent 32 years. But during that time I was on the Board of Education. I served under 5 superintendents. Now I don't know if we were that tough on superintendents or a lot. I can tell you what it was. And so thankful that it's been changed, today. Our superintendents then had to run for election. And so you made some tough decisions, you paid for it at the ballot box. I served a little while under Ed Dunn. When Ed Dunn, it was Cecil Davis, Bob C, Gene Crawford, Robert Foster. There you go. So I've been through a few of them. Man, we met in the old courthouse when I got elected, top floor. Ed Dunn's office was sliced in area about half the size of this stage. Next to him out front sat Shelby Jean Wimberly, who was bookkeeper. And another little glassed in office was Winfred Cruz. And he was over transportation and truancy. And that was the staff in the courthouse. We had a little meeting room. It wasn't much bigger than this right here. And anybody come, they had to stand around the walls. We'd put a few chairs down. So we were there a few years, and then we got Bob Milam was our board attorney. Oh, you remember Bob Milam? Bob got appointed to be Superior Court judge. Bob owned that really nice brick building across the old post office down there. And Bob said, I'm going to put that thing on the block, and boy, that'd be a great place for Board of Education to get you out of the courthouse. So, we worked with Bob to cut a deal, and we bought that place. And we had a real strict policy, and Lewis will vouch for this, that we wasn't never going to borrow any money. Okay, that's just something we wasn't going to do. We worked with what we had. So we set up 3 yearly payments. It was due on the 1st of every year for 3 years to pay Bob a payment till we paid the building off for 3 years. And so we had this really nice building down there, had a big boardroom and offices for administration stuff. And we stayed there till we got a real good offer on that place and bought this, where you're at today. So that's a little bit of story of that. But I got to thinking back about what all we really accomplished in those days, and I hadn't never given it much thought, and I got to thinking today, wow, what we did. Now in 12 years, We had one tax increase for $1.5 million in 12 years. Never borrowed a penny of money. During that time, like I said, we bought that Board of Education building. We finished, while I was on the board, we finished the high school up here. It was under construction when I got elected. We finished it. We built the old football field, the old stadium, before it sure didn't look like it looks now. Of course, we got no state money. We did it out of what we had. We built that. A few years later, we built the old gym. Didn't have any money coming in the state. We had to come out of our pocket. We built that gym. Okay. From there, we hit the real crisis. We had bought some other things, but the crisis came one night at a board meeting when we come in and people from the State Department. There was 3 men and 2 ladies come in. That was back before you had this nice purple. They had their slides and stuff set up. And they said, folks, here's the way it's going to go down. Fannin County cannot support 9 schools. And a couple of years before, we had shut down. When I first came on board, we shut down Caldwell and Mobile, consolidated them into the airport in Cajun. But they came to us and they said, here's the deal. You do not have the ADA. Keep Mineral Bluff open, keep Morganton open, keep McKaysville open, and then the biggie was Epworth. Of course, we're all going, yeah, right, Dad, yeah, we're going to shut all those down. You know, y'all living in a dream world. Well, they woke us up really, really quick. But Kyle's, what they come back with is oh, sure, you keep those schools open, you don't too. But every penny of their operation, every teacher's salary, every bus driver's salary, every janitor's salary, and every lunchroom salary, and every bit of money's going to come out of your pocket, because you ain't going to get a penny from the state. Well, that sure did make a change, because when we got them out of there, we started trying to figure what this is going to cost if we do this. Hey, no way, Big Fannin County could pay $25 million. It's about what it was going to cost to keep all these schools open. And you got to remember, this is the time when the Tennessee Cocoa Company was shutting down. And people were losing their jobs, moving out of here, and Lord knows we didn't have a tax digest you guys got today. This wasn't, it wasn't even close. So we said, okay, this has got to happen. And what we did is we set up community meetings in every school area. We had Morganton, met in our gym, met in Mineral Bluff gym. We were packing it in from all the wall. And of course, I got to be the lucky guy to get to stand up there and explain all this to everybody. And I learned one valuable lesson out of all of that. People in different communities, you may not agree on religion, you may not agree on politics, but everybody agrees on their school. That is their school. They don't want it closed. And man, we had some tough, old Lewis can tell you, we had some tough nights. You know, with people trying to get them to understand why this had to be done. And I got death threats. I'd go to bed at night and I'd have to take the phone off the hook because I was getting calls 2 or 3 in the morning, saying we're going to burn your house down if you close Mineral Bluff. And I go to church on Sunday. Because we're closing the airport, people would get up and move off the pew I was on. I'm telling you, man, this was a different deal right here. You guys just do not realize what we were dealing with to do that. We did it, and it's a system you're working under today. But I will say that was the hardest thing in my 70 years I've ever dealt with. That issue right there, closing those schools. And finally, you know, after about, I guess, 10 years maybe, I had people come up to me and say, hey, we had your guts, but you was right, man, this is the way it ought to be, it's working, you know. I apologize for all the bad things I said about you, those kind of things. So guys, I'm telling you, I know when those hard decisions come, you know, you just gotta hang tight. Because we just didn't have, were y'all talking millions, we were talking thousands back in those days. And we'd stay here, Lewis can vouch for this, many nights we would be here at 11 o'clock, wouldn't we, Lewis? Trying to figure out how we're gonna fix that boiler at Morgan, or how we're gonna fix that roof at Blue Ridge, where we're gonna get the money, where we're gonna move it. Because we were determined we wasn't gonna raise millage, and we were determined we wasn't gonna borrow money, and we did. And we did all these things, working within what we had. So it just, I mean, I look at this, I ride around the system today, you know, what I really admire you guys for, you get this SPOS money. Gosh, you put it out here for people to see it and use it. And I thank you for that. I mean, this Performing Arts Center, the stadium, the new gymnasium here, all the things that you've done. You know, when we built the middle school, and I was a big part of the middle school thing, I like to think I always tried to look for out in the future. I thought, man, we built this thing, we don't ever have to worry about it. And it wasn't but about 4 or 5 years till you were putting mobile buildings out there because it wasn't big enough. And we never saw this boom coming back then to what we have today. And so, you know, when you're building, you got to really think way out because we missed the mark on the middle school at that time. So that's kind of a little trip down memory lane, what all we dealt with and the kind of things we had to deal with. And you know, it's pleasing to me to see y'all are working off the same format I walked away from in 1992. So I want to thank you guys for your service. I thank you for what you do. And I sure know what you go through a lot of times, but I appreciate it.
I just wanted to mention that I hope you take comfort in the fact that we remain debt-free.
Yes, sir.
I do know that. That's exactly right. You know, that's carried on. That has carried on. And I think one of the great things too is you got your superintendent out of the politics part of it. And that was a great move because during my time, I mean, they had to run. And it was just, you know, you run during the time we were consolidating in those guys, superintendent didn't have a choice. He didn't have a chance. And that's why I knew my 12 years, I would love to stay, but I couldn't have got elected garbage collector because of that deal. And I said, man, I come in my first time by landslide. The 2 times I run after that, I didn't even have any opposition. But man, it was coming that 3rd time. And I said, you know, it's been a good 12 years. I've done some things I wanted to see done. And, you know, we changed the whole play. We got guys on board. When I came on, most of those guys were old business guys. They were all old enough to be my grandfather. So I walked into the first board meeting at 30 years old, and here sat these guys, most of them in the late 60s, 70s around the table. Been there for years, years, and years. And they looked at me like, what in the hell are you doing here? And, you know, I sat down, so I had my degree and my master's, and so I'm sitting with these guys, they weren't impressed at all. And anything I'd bring up, they'd look at each other. And it's about 2 years before I even got a vote on anything. And then they started going off, and we started getting people like Jim Sisson, who we served with, Joe Clement, Don Kendall, David Falls, Steve Patterson, people like that. And at one time, we had a board with everybody on the board had a degree or higher. You know, that don't make you smart anybody as anybody else, but that was the first time for Fannin County that you had a group of men who had been a little higher than high school and understood a little bit about education. And the board's got better and better ever since. So a lot of milestones, a lot of memories I hadn't thought about in 27 years. So I just want to thank you again. Thank you for asking me to come back. It's been fun for me. And like I said, I haven't been here 27 years. So thank you for what you do. And I hope you know what kind, you think we got a mutual admiration society? Well, we do. I love this man right here. When he came on, me and him bonded. He tells you something, you take it to the bank. And I found that for 8 years with him. He's solid as a rock. He has the wisdom. He has the knowledge that you can't buy because of his years. I just hope the people from Fannin County will understand. They've got a gym right here that better keep you if you want to stay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the humbling.
And,
I'll collect later. Yeah.
and we have, what we have today is because we have a good foundation, conservative, good decision-making that's taken us through time. As Mr. Brandon said, we continue to be debt-free. I think that the struggles that you endured, we're blessed today with the SWAST.
Yeah, boy.
And we're able to take it to the next level for our kids because of it.
I laughed. I said to Lewis one day, I said, you know, we used to be here at 11 o'clock trying down out of patch a roof. I said, now, y'all just build a new building. You got the money. I said, I'd love to know what that felt like. But,
Thank you. And Sheriff Kirby?
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for the
We're
invitation
happy to
this
have you
evening.
here, sir.
And, that was a good history lesson there, Mike. I enjoyed that. I just want to say that I'm glad I wasn't the sheriff back then. County.
I was going to say, you've been capped out at my house.
Yeah, I would have been. That sounds like some pretty serious issues there. But and Mr. DeWeese, to you, I'm not so sure that I'm deserving of all the nice compliments that you gave me there, but I'll take them. Thank you very much for that. And
Our system appreciates you.
that's mutual to y'all as well. You know, we took on a little security project here a while back, not that long ago, and pretty big step to take, but I tell you, it makes things awful easy to deal with when you've got somebody that knows what they want and they know how to go after it and get it. That takes all the work out of it. Takes some of the fun out of it. But that's kind of my analogy of you know, that project. Dr. Watney, the way he went about that and the way it was structured, the way it was done, and the way it was handled was couldn't have been like that. I don't think it could have been pulled off any smoother and easier than it was. I think we got a little press attention there, maybe on one night, but that wasn't no big deal. I think it sent a message all the way across the country, not just locally here, not just statewide, but I think those waves traveled all the way across the country, and it sent the kind of message that people needed to see. It sent a message that I was proud of. I'm still proud of it, and we'll do what we can to further any operations that y'all have along the security lines. Anytime you think you need our help, you know where I'm at. We've got a real good working relationship. We talk often, and we'll continue to work together just in the future, just like we have in the past as far as
I'm thankful that we have a sheriff that we can.
Yes, sir.
He's a true partner. He has always been there, and I know he always will be.
Yeah.
And today, in fact, Mr. Danner. Betsy.
And he also serves, Sheriff Kirby also serves on one of our SGTs.
Yes,
So he makes
he's a
that
part of our
commitment
school governance
to
team
the
at Fannin
city.
County.
Yeah, I may be getting ready to get fired from that position. I missed a few meetings.
It's gonna be better, I just know it's gonna be better.
I've got one coming up here that I've got on my calendar, so I hope my attendance will be better. Yeah, that's quite enjoyable. Yeah.
That's right.
Sheriff,
Thank you.
it was an honor to have you here this evening to lead us in the pledge. And we thank you for all your support and your partnership. You are an asset to this organization. We're thankful for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item is consent agenda. So board will ask you to look at items A and B. A is to approve the agenda, B is to approve the minutes. Get you open up and take a look at the draft version of the minutes from June 13, 2019, 6 p.m. Scroll through those. Okay, Mr. Chair, I recommend we approve the items on the consent agenda as presented.
Chair has a motion to that effect, please.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? favor?
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the central office update, and Sarah, did you have,
Yeah, just a little more.
okay, do you want to go back over to that presentation, then I'll give you the opportunity to finish up. I think was Mr. Price going to take over at this point?
Well, okay. Mr. Price, he can't wait to get up here, so I will be brief. Just talking about some of our other partnerships, and I really wanted to highlight Rotary Club and what they've done for us this year. In addition to, and I know I've plugged First Foundation, to everyone that will listen to me, they send free books to our kids up to their 5th birthday. Every month they get a free book in the mail, and so they've been excellent that way, as well as North Georgia Technical College and Flag. The University of North Georgia continued to work with them. They solidified our partnership for this second year. And this was the second thing the State Department of Education asked me to highlight in our presentation, because they said what they saw with us and our partnership with North Georgia, the way they're coming into our schools, the way they're going out and getting their own grants to support us. They said they don't see that. They haven't seen that in other counties. They haven't seen that in other partnerships, and they wanted to commend us and commend UNG for how well that partnership is working. And so we discussed sort of that symbiotic nature, how they have helped us with service, because they have been completing service learning projects. And through that, we have become their service learning project, working with the children, working on literacy. And so through that, they've served as literacy role models for our kids. They've helped our kids set goals. Also, we're going to hopefully partner together on some teacher preparation, future teacher preparation, through their education department. And then a different sort of development and grants for professional learning. And at this point, I will turn you over to the star speaker, Mr. Matt Price.
I'm on one slide here, so. But Ms. Welch wanted kind of a perspective of how L4J has affected our schools, and so I'm glad to talk about my school with you guys. So some of the things that L4J has brought, one thing is, which you wouldn't think would help, it's actually changed our math curriculum and stuff, because now that we have all this L4GA blending with our reading professional learning, it opens up the other professional learning thing that we had, from a different part of money that we've done a lot with our math as well. But one of the pictures here you see is our basketball team came from the high school and read with our students. They were excited to be there. Our students always idolize our high school kids, but even more so they look up to some athletes that come over and read with them. So we were proud of that. Also, we have our UNG students up here that came and read with our students. Did I get another slide? Wow. So over here is Dr. Walpole. Dr. Walpole is kind of like the Nick Saban of bookworms. And so she was very blunt and honest. And so, or the Kirby Smart. So not the Dan Mullen.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about.
So she was very blunt and honest with our teachers, which we needed, and with myself, and she gave me some a lot of suggestions, which I was pleased to. I mean, you want that honesty, and so she founded the Bookworms, correct?
She wrote the curriculum.
She wrote the curriculum. I mean, she's too good with it. So she came in and also gave a lot of positive feedback to our teachers, which they also need to hear when they're implementing the new curriculum. She was very pleased with our progress there. We also had an author, Conrad, as you see in the top right up here. He came and spoke with our students. Our students got to meet a real live author, which was good. And I can attest for the district, the district-wide events we have at the high school. Our kids love it. I take both of my kids, and that's kind of how I gauge how well they go. I mean, my kids love going, especially the Christmas thing we did with the Polar Express. They really love that. One thing I'm excited to see is the Birth to Five, the effect of it, because we get kids from so many different kids that can't recognize letters all the way up. We have kids reading coming in kindergarten, so you get a wide spectrum of abilities that come in. And so I'm super excited in the years to come to see the effect of that. And so, and also our pre-K starting this year. I mean, I'm just super excited about that aspect of what L4GA's brought with that. So, and another thing, all of our all elementary schools are on the same reading curriculum, and so we have a lot of students that transfer within schools, so now when they go into a different school, they'll pick up right where they left off. Also gives a great opportunity with the professional learning to happen within our district of teachers talking and having PLCs, with teachers from other schools, and they're all speaking the same language, we're looking at the same data, and so we're excited. And so it's brought a lot of opportunities for our students. So,
Do y'all have need of books, new or used?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Lewis. We actually just installed it's like a little library outside of our school. And so we've got some across the district that Ms. Welch has set out. And so kids can actually come up during the summer or on Saturdays or whenever, and actually, they got a little library, they can just pick a book up, and if they don't bring it back, it's okay, or if they can come back and trade books. Dr. Hightower, if y'all remember her, she was on our accreditation team. We met with her at the conference, and they actually, they're kind of ahead of us on that. They've gotten like churches and people to take ownership of those boxes. They're putting them all out through the city and the county, and so getting community members to commit to putting books in there and keeping it stocked. And so that's something that we talked about, and we talked to Dr. Hightower about as well, to keep those stocked so kids have more access to books. And so I know Ms. Welch talked about getting books out to those birth to 5 kids too. So,
Where would you take books to if you had to get?
well, that's why we were hoping with these little book stations that we can put them in locations.
Yours is right as you pull into the school?
Ours is right as you pull in the school, but we're talking about actually getting them out into the communities up Highway 60 somewhere. But the thing it's going to have to get is getting somebody to commit to keeping that stocked, and so kids have access to books. So, but yeah, ours is right outside the school, and we actually just got ours, and we'll be stocking it soon and start advertising and getting kids to come up and have access to those books.
Any questions?
Well done, Mr. Price.
Okay. Our last thing is we tried to give other districts just partnership takeaways, because I've had a lot of districts come to me and say, how can we do what Fannin County is doing? And so those were just sort of the big things, and the biggest thing was actions speak louder than words. And I think that when people saw that we meant what we said as a district and we were committed to this, everybody got on board. And then that's the last thing. Literacy is a cause everyone can get behind. I have not talked to one person throughout this multi-year journey who says, literacy? I don't want to help that. That's not a cause I'm interested in. Everybody gets behind it. And so that has just been so eye-opening to me. So this is an ultimate partnership. There is a magic I firmly believe that happens. No Harry Potter reference intended. The moment a child, that click happens and they learn how to read. And I feel so much appreciation for those teachers who can make that happen. And my daughter, who has always been read to, but sort of that flow and fluency didn't happen. And this year, Melinda Dillard, and teaching in her kindergarten class, Addie's sitting at home and reading books all the time now. And that magic that happens, we want that for all our kids. And we want it to feel that way for all our kids, that excitement. And so our partnership with the community is helping make that happen in all the schools, I feel, I hope. I want that to be the case. And so we're so very appreciative of the support from the local board, from the community, from UNG, from all the administrations and all the faculty, because Mr. Shofi put this out there, has let me take over his campus numerous times now with people in costume and random things. Word on the street is that we do Marvel Night. He's dressing up in costume. Pretty excited about that. And also, while we're here, I just want to do a shout out to Miss Brittany Wagner here. If you don't know her, she's the academic coach at Blue Ridge Elementary, and she has done tremendous work over the past year in helping us get this rolled out. We appreciate the work of everyone that's come together on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continued support of our literacy hopes and dreams.
I share their enthusiasm on the birth to 5 age group. When you look at efficiencies, I think that's where we stand to make the greatest gains. And as Mr. Price stated, that I have great confidence that that's going to pay big dividends years down the road. Reading as a foundation of all learning, we can get those kids who come in that are behind the curve up to speed quicker. We know what we can do once we get them in school. So I share your enthusiasm and your excitement and your anticipation of what that program is going to mean.
I applaud the board's Birth to Five, support of Birth to Five. And the other initiative is now that we've got a pre-K in each of the 3 elementary schools beginning this upcoming school year. I think both of those are investments that are going to pay off for our county and for our school and our kids. As it's that time, Mr. Inslee, you want to share some announcements?
Yes, sir. Just want to share with everybody in the community and everyone around about some of the events that we have coming up just in the next few weeks. It's hard to believe that summer's almost over. We've been very busy trying to get ready for the new school year. But we do have new student registration on Tuesday, July the 23rd at each of the respective schools from 8 to 4. If you have a new student, there's a list of items down here that you need to look at to bring with you as you register as your student. Also, we have our annual open house in all the elementary schools and middle school on Tuesday, August the 6th, from 1 to 5. And our Fannin County High School has 2 separate ones. They have an upcoming one for their freshmen on August the 5th at 5 to 7 on Monday, and then Tuesday 1 to 5 on August the 6th for the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders.
That's a great idea too.
It's a fantastic idea because it's a huge transition from 8th grade to 9th grade and the transition to high school. Also, if you're needing a parking permit, they'll need to be at the PAC by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 6th. And the first day of school is August the 7th, and it will be here before we know it. It is just a few short weeks away, but we just want to kind of give you some updated dates out there and times. This will be on Assembly where everybody can get on our website and find it. Also want to give you a couple of updates for we've got, as you see, we've got Sarah Wells, we've got, Mr. Danner in different roles. We want to share with you kind of our district leadership where you can find information if you were to have questions. You can just go to our general website, go over to who we are, go to district leadership, and you'll see Dr. Watney's picture there. Scan on down right here, and you can go to the 2019-2020 organizational chart. And this basically is kind of the organization of how things are in our system and kind of who oversees different departments. And also, you can go down to the duties for each of the individuals. And we'll blow it up a little bigger here for 2019-2020. You can see we have kind of operations and administration on the right side. Operations on the left side, administration on the right side. We have all of our names from the district level, what we do, and if you have specific questions about anything, pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'll be glad to help you in any way that we possibly can.
Thank you, Mr. Inslee. Yeah, that date's right around the corner.
It is.
All right. Next item is school governance team update, number 6. Ms. Hyde.
No.
Good evening, y'all. I wasn't here last month to present. I had a chance in a lifetime, so I had to take it. I got to play golf at St. Andrews. So I wasn't here. So we had 3 schools that met in May after the board meeting, so let me kind of go over what they did. Fannin had no facility use requests and no field trip requests, but they had a fundraiser, and one of the things which is really neat, I've seen them in action up there, they're 4th grade students and their power planters, garden club, when they have that on Mother's Day up at the bank, United Community, where they sell plants and everything. They sold bedding plants, vegetables, herbs that they had grown, and kale smoothies. So that was one of the fundraisers there. And then they're also, the 5th grade, to help raise money for their 5th grade overnight field trip, is going to be selling in August Domino's Slice the Price fundraiser cards. So that's something everybody needs to look for and see if they can do. Blue Ridge and East I presented at the May board meeting. The middle school had facility use request, they did a Jeep ride, shop with the cop to raise money for that, and then they had a cheer camp here in June. Buffy Chapman took her golf team as a reward to Top Golf in Alpharetta, so that was a field trip request. And their fundraisers are all about, all summer now, all the teachers are working with their students doing fundraisers for extracurricular activities. And at that meeting, Mr. Nichols updated the group on their new schedule changes they're having next year. They voted for how to spend their charter funding money, and they decided they wanted to spend the money to help fund a STEM teacher at the middle school. And next at the high school, Mr. Shofey, facility use requests, mainly most of those have been for tournaments and camps that they've had extracurricular things during the summer. Their field trips, we've had 5 FFA competitions and a leadership competition conference they're going to, and then of course FCCLA went to nationals. Most of the fundraisers here, and we have a whole long list of fundraisers that it's about raising money for extracurricular activities. And then at their SGT meeting, Mr. Shofey went over and explained about the new parent pickup and the drop-off pattern, how they changed it. And it's been very successful and much safer for the students instead of having them running through traffic down here. They're going to be able to add about 32 extra spaces at CTAE. And then they gave, before school was out, the seniors got to pick their spots. And then as you saw a minute ago, underclassmen will be able to pick their spots, the 6th. Then Ms. Dillard gave a little bit of a curriculum report. We had 2 students at the high school that had 2 perfect EOC scores. So that's pretty awesome. And then they will be getting their AP scores here in July. And so that was basically most of what went on at the end of May. No one met in June, but we have 3 SGP meetings next week. So they're starting back this year. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hyde. Mr. Danner.
Good evening, board. Took some pictures this week on Tuesday, just some projects that's going on this summer. One picture is not on here that Ms. Wynn had mentioned was the East Fannin driveway widening project. It was actually finished today. So it's not been striped yet, but so again, we've got a dual path coming up to East Fannin. This is at Blue Ridge Elementary. It got a well-needed paint job inside the gymnasium. And go ahead, Robert, I think there's a couple of pictures there. Just to, pictures doesn't do it justice till you walk in there and see it. I wish we had before and after pictures because it really doesn't show you everything that just a little bit of paint can do to a gymnasium. This is the playground fence that was on one of Ms. Hodges' wish list for her safety grant. So again, this was actually purchased with safety grant. They've never had a fence from the back of the playground up to the bank in the kudzu. And mentioning kudzu, of course, by probably this time next month, we won't be able to see the fence because it's going to be covered up with kudzu. But at least the kids will be secure. There is a gate there in case a ball goes over. So again, that has been a well-needed addition there at Blue Ridge. Here's the driveway at the high school. Again, this is for safety reasons. This is, stay right there just a second, Robert. Just to the left of this area is the PAC. So again, you've already come to the tech center, turn left there at the stop sign. That's a crosswalk for the students that park at the tennis court to cross over to get to the PAC. So what's going to happen here in the next couple of days is these parking spots will actually be lost. The far right-hand lane where the parking spot is now is going to be parent pickup drop-off line. So you got a single line coming up, so that lane will be parent drop-off. What's now the left lane, so what is the lane now is going to be the bus lane. So the bus is going to have their own lane, parent drop-off is going to have their own lane. It's going to go behind the current greenhouse there. Go ahead, Robert. This is a little bit closer view. So again, there used to be a dumpster there. So we've lost the dumpster, a little bit of a parking area. So this will give you a little bit of more of an angle when we get it striped, hopefully next week.
What you're going to correct is that traffic jam that happens
Absolutely.
Especially in the afternoons.
Absolutely.
And then you've got folks kind of trying to pass buses in the oncoming traffic lane and that type of thing. So you're going to isolate the buses in one lane and allow parents to pick up traffic in the other.
That is correct. Mr. Shofie actually brought this up to us last year once they changed the parent drop-off. When these were parking places in the mornings when you've got 100 cars trying to get on campus, a student will pull up and try to back into their spot. They don't turn their blinkers on. And of course, we almost seen multiple wrecks at that location. So again, in the AM, the entrance of the high school is going to be an entrance only. So again, you'll have one flow of traffic coming in, and so again, I think it's really going to help the safety issue there at the high school. Go ahead, Robert. Again, this is just a little closer view there. So again, that will be 2 lanes. The left lane will be the buses. The right lane will be parent pick up and drop off, which now goes behind the school.
That's the greenhouse on the left.
Yes, sir.
This right side goes around to the high school.
That is correct. That is correct. This is in front of the CTA building. Again, I wish we had before and after pictures. This is where, just to the left of the van that you can see up there behind the bushes, this is where our flag used to be. So again, this is what was approved by the board last month to lose that area up there. And again, calculations are we're going to get 32 additional spots. So again, we cut out a lot of the grass there. That's a new sidewalk going up to the CTA building, and hopefully get it striped next week. And again, a minimum of 32 spots, and possibly more. And so again, it's going to be well needed there at the high school. There's just a different angle of it. Same area there. This is the main high school campus is just to the right out of the picture. That's the new gym on the left. This is just a little grass knoll area. When we expanded the parking lot there at the high school, what used to be some staff spots, Mr. Shofie and Dr. Angie says, can we put some additional parking there? So that's going to be staff parking. So what used to be staff parking on the main campus is again going to be more student spots. So again, while we was doing this whole project there, we went ahead and added that area. So again, that should give us a minimum of 10 staff spots at that location. So 10 staff spots means 10 more student spots. Again, just a different location. That's the BOE down at the bottom of the hill, just to give you a reference point there.
Will also help a lot, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
At events, to have that additional parking and get people off the grass by providing that additional spacing, so we're very
Again, this was Tuesday. At this point, actually, where the framed-in metal wall is now, that's actually got sheetrock on it. This was in a special needs classroom at the middle school. Scrolling down just a little bit, Robert, just to the left there, that is a very small bathroom. The picture doesn't show it. Just to the left of the sink is a toilet. Just behind that area is an actual tub. And so again, we've got some special needs students who have got some additional equipment that would not fit in that restroom. So again, this was a little hallway between 2 classrooms there. So we busted out a wall. We'll make this bathroom a lot larger so that it will fit all the equipment in there and still meet egress codes and all that type of stuff for our students in these. I think there's one more additional picture on that, Robert. Yeah, there's a tub when I took this picture. So that's how small this area is. That big cabinet to the right, of course, it will be removed. And again, that just makes that one. It was a hallway, really just wasted space. So again, it's going to be a well-needed area there for our special needs students.
Our maintenance does the work.
Our maintenance done some of the electrical work on it, but since we're busting out some walls and adding new walls, really didn't have time to do it, so we did contract that out. This is a picture of at West Fannin. Zoom out just a little bit, if you can. Okay. Again, painting. West Fannin got a paint, a facelift, as did most schools, because that was on a lot of the principals' wish list. Is our buildings are old, built in the 50s. and Mike, and, but again, it's just amazing what a coat of paint will do, not only to the buildings, it helps morale, just the appearance altogether. So again, West Fannin got some coats of paint. There's a different angle there in the center section, and again, it was a well-needed addition. This is also at West. A lot of the floor tiles that it's multiple classrooms. I think it's 5 or 6, Lucas. 6 classrooms getting new floor tile, the VCT tile. That was well needed. So again, that was Tuesday. You can tell we've still got a lot of work to do to have it ready for school starts. This is also at West. This was paid for with safety grant money. This is the tennis courts is just behind the picture there, but again, the fence that was up there was literally rusting and falling down. So Mr. Roof had some additional safety money that was not allocated with cameras and everything else. So he chose to use his safety money there for additional fencing there to help keep the kids secure. That it, Robert? Well done, Mr. Daniel.
Question,
Yes, sir.
parent pickup,
Parent pickup, yes, sir.
when the children get out,
In the afternoons.
morning, evening, whatever, around between the building and the football stadium, it's gonna be one line or two?
Currently is one.
Right, change. That's my perspective, because I go through there.
We'll monitor that, and if there's space in there, we'll be glad to do so. What it does help, though, is gets, that additional area that's going around there, you can get so many more vehicles off of 76 down here, at least they're on our campus. And not
I like the idea of going from here to around there.
Mhm.
The only thing was when I took my granddaughter through there last year, when you got around there, and some kids it takes things like 5 minutes to get out, some it takes 1. And that's where it's, and I judge my judgment on the middle school because they got 2 that go through and out. You got there just,
That's something we can look at, we can monitor, and if we've got room, we can possibly do so. Anybody else?
Were we supposed to do some paving out at West Fannin?
West Fannin, that's what was completed today.
It was.
Paving at West.
Oh, and West Fannin.
West
Fannin,
You're gonna have a
I'm
bid
sorry.
opening next week.
Actually, bid opening is Tuesday,
Yeah.
this coming Tuesday. And we've had 2, we know of 2 vendors that's going to bid on it. Both of them are ready to go. Of course, we'll have to get board approval once we have the bid opening. So I've been sort of nudging Dr. Watney, we've got to have a very quick call meeting either Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday or sometime so we can get this project going before school starts. So again, we hopefully the bids come in as expected on Tuesday.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Next item is to approve CTA 5-year local plan, and Mr. Blas not able to be with us this evening, so Mr. Shopey's going to present this information to us. But before we begin, we've experienced some tremendous success in our CTA programs at the middle school in TSA.
Yes.
And at the high school in FCCLA.
That's correct.
We have some photographs of the TSA. You want to speak to that? Mr. Knuckles?
There were 3 gentlemen that represented Fannin County Middle School. To back it up just for a moment, we actually had 4 state recognized persons. Only 3 of the students, because of family plans, were able to go. But they did go up there. They competed in 4 areas, and there'll be more information coming. One of the areas was CAD. Another area was on problem solving.
Computer-aided design, or is that drafting?
Yes, sir. Computer-aided design and drafting.
Okay.
And so they finished, let me make sure I get this correct. In the CAD, James Kyle finished as a finalist and finished 9th in the United States. He's excessively proud of that, of course, and we're pleased with him. The Technology Bowl, Bryce Ware, James Kyle, and Lucas to the right, the picture to the right, placed in the top 8 and were finalists. They got pinned
And that's
for
United
that.
States?
In the United States, yes, sir. In problem solving, to the left, Bryce Ware, James Cobb placed third in the nation, and they missed the last part of the bonus question, or they would have been a national champion.
That is
So,
awesome.
and they're going to present hopefully later on, maybe in the
Great to
August.
bring these students in.
So,
Introduce
yes,
them.
yes. And they'll tell you their scores, and they'll tell you everything about their experience.
Tell us anything technology. it sounds like.
Anything technology, computer-based technology, problem solving, CAD, and one more, and I forgot what
Well,
other.
we're proud of those students, Mr. Knuckles.
We're excessively proud of those students.
Do they prepare themselves?
They prepared. They spent about a month in preparation. Their state contest was in early May, and they found out they had qualified. They began to prepare. Their contest was started June 28th, and they prepared all the way up to that time. But they spent probably 2 weeks in sincere preparation, about 3 days a week.
Did they do that online?
No, they actually came to middle school and did most of their preparation, and they worked with Mr. Phil Presley, Miss Beth Ware. She was a parent, but she took a lot of time also helping in preparation, planning. But they do well. They're well prepared. They're good kids. It's just a representation of what kind of students we have here coming from kindergarten up through high school. And we're going to continue to see these types of students come along. And these three, maybe these four, are going to bring his school and themselves a lot of glory coming on too. So, very good kids.
That's great. Mr. Shofie, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. Anybody want to say something? Mr. Shofie, the floor is yours, and you're also going to share with us some student success.
I will, our FCCLA group, and I was caught a little off guard, when Sarah was presenting and talking about spider webs, I just made the comment, oh, Marvel would be good. I didn't realize I would be in costume at the next event, so I'm still processing that.
If you say it out loud in a board meeting, that's basically a contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm processing. Is the Invisible Man on Marvel? Ms. Dubois certainly would like to have been here today. She's with her mom and sister. So they asked if I would share with you our federal and state grants for our CTAE programs, which has afforded a lot of our students so many opportunities. Our first one, the federal grant funds, those have not been determined yet by the state, but the majority of those funds, the Perkins Local Plan Program Improvement Funds, goes towards teacher travel, registration, and substitutes when they're out of the building. And then the Perkins End of Pathway assessments, this was one that we were a little hesitant on. We thought we were going to lose that. It's a little under $10,000. It's $9,580 we are going to receive this year. So that was a relief, because when a student completes a pathway after that third level course, there's those industry certification exams that we won't be able to provide our students, because it's in hand when they start applying for jobs. And so many of our students are getting the Adobe or the CNA license. So that's a big piece. So we were excited to see that coming through. Some of the state grant funds that will be coming our way for CTAE is covered under teacher salary, and it supplements their pay. They work 20 additional hours each month. They're very similar coaches. They're preparing kids for competition. They're spending time after school working with those students. We can't have a CTSO if we don't have an advisor in place. So that particular state grant allows our advisors to work those 20 hours per month with our students. We also have the Youth Apprenticeship Program. 85% of that is towards salary, and the other 15% is for travel, registration, and supplies. And our supervision is 100% salary. We have yet to receive those. They're hoping those will drop in the next 2 weeks, but that's our plan for those grant funds. Our state ag grant funds is extended day for the high school and the middle school ag teachers. They work 40 additional days at the high school, which allows them to keep the cannery going, continuing to work out at the ag facility for animals, livestock, feeding them. The middle school teacher provides 20 additional days of coverage for our programs. And it comes, that one has already dropped. It's about a little over 18,370 for that grant. We get the young farmer salary that is provided. That's a grant that allows Wanda Matthews to oversee that, work with the community, continue to build our young farmers program. And then we have some capital equipment grant funds. We were awarded $90,000 for equipment. We received a little over $30,000, $30,732 last year. And if you recall, we purchased our ag trailer, some livestock scales, and some adjustable pen dividers. This year, we'll get the remaining balance, which is the $59,268 for this school year to be able to continue to buy equipment for the facility. So those are our CTA federal and state grants. Some of the money has dropped. Not all of it has come out this way.
This requires board approval, not necessarily approving the grant amounts, but approving the notion that CTA and Mr. Bob will apply for grants.
That is
So the DOE needs our endorsement of that. So with that said, I make a recommendation that we approve CTA 5-year local plans as presented by Mr. Chairman.
May the chair have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Thank you. Mr. Show, can you tell us about this?
Well, 11 young ladies went to the state FCCLA conference and were finalists placed, which allowed them the opportunity to go to Anaheim, California. And we weren't sure if they were going to make it or not, because there's an expense when you're traveling that many people across the country for over a week period of time. And they raised the money. It was a little over $23,000, $24,000. They raised it. So we're very grateful for the community support for these young ladies. They went out there, they had experiences beyond just the conference, and they had competitions and they competed. And you're going to be given the opportunity, hopefully next month, where you'll meet those students. Because of those 11 young ladies, 10 of them are returning. So that's pretty exciting. And of those 11 young ladies, 10 of them received gold medals, which is the highest medal you can receive at the national conference. And one got a silver medal. So we were very pleased with their accomplishments. The only senior that's going to be graduating, and maybe she'll still be in town, is Hope Harris. And otherwise, everyone else is going to be returning. So we're very excited for the direction Ms. Owenby is taking at CCLA. Because a lot of our students haven't experienced going to California before. So part of the trip too is to kind of explore and see some of the different attractions. They didn't count on it, but they even experienced a little bit of an earthquake. So they got to kind of see what that was all about over on that side. So they all came back safely, of course, and we're very proud of what Ms. Owenby does. She's a graduate. She was one of the first students that I was able, former student here in Fannin County, that I was able to hire back as a teacher. So she's fantastic, and I'm just very grateful to have that opportunity.
That's great. We look forward to having them come.
Yeah, and that's the plan is for next month. We're going to hear a little bit more about their individual competitions they participate in.
I think Mr. Vaughn, he got some of them personal experiences when he went to Hawaii.
Yes.
Talk about the girls doing things we've never done before. I think Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, sir. And also, Mr. Knuckles, you were in California. Just not with them.
I was 15
Just down
miles south
yeah,
on
just down the road.
vacation and got to experience.
You were at a Pizza Hut, weren't you? On the
Yes.
second trimmer hit?
Thought somebody knocked me over. I was standing at the salad bar, and I didn't know what it was. I was just wobbling. I thought there was something wrong with me, and somebody yelled earthquake and ran out of the Pizza Hut. So,
He stayed in me. Well,
we were in
Mine's got
Yeah.
short.
When we have reports like this, I think to myself, this is Fannin County. This is Fannin County students that get this kind of opportunity.
We're able to compete all our own, locally, nationally. We're proud of that.
It's wonderful.
Okay. Mr. Danner, should check. Do we have any public comment? Has anybody signed up? Okay. Everybody signed up? Any public comment?
No.
We'll move on then to approve district financial report. Turn the floor back over to Ms. Wynn.
Today we have our financial report for our general fund for May 31st, 2019. We're at 91.66% for our fiscal year. Our local revenue sources were at 97%, and it's 98% the prior year. And our total revenues was at 95%, and the prior year was also at 95%. And then our total expenditures were at 87%, and it was also at 87% last year. We're in very good financial position.
Yeah, this appears to be a healthy financial report. Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve this financial report as presented.
I can make that motion.
Second. Second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Thank you. The next item is SPOS update. Mr. Smith.
And this, if you could go back a little bit. In May, we received $510,422.07. That was 10.3%. And if you'll look down and see the others that are in white, that is the numbers that I used to project our FY20 SPOS budget. And then I used everything but the catch-up, figure the 10.9%, that we're actually doing everything built into our SPOS.
This is clear evidence of a strong economy. The benefit is to our school system and our children. So we're thankful for this. This is presented for information on here. The next item that does require approval, though, is an August 19th spending resolution. And this is so we can continue to do business in the month of August, pending approval of a budget for FY20.
For our final budget, we request the spending of the approval of the spending resolution for August. And we'll be ready at our next budget input meeting, August the 8th, for advertisement.
Okay, so, Mr. Chair, I recommend to approve the spending resolution for August as presented.
We have that motion.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Thank you. Ms. Witt, that concludes your portion. Thank you. Mr. Ansley, you have local board training selections. We want to continue striving for the best status that we can be.
Absolutely. And last month, I had the pleasure of presenting you with your award. What I would like is you just this is the course offerings that Pioneer RESA has for the 2019-2020 year. In August, I would like for us to pick our 3 that we want to do and kind of set our dates up for the year. And if we could, possibly do the retreat in the fall this year and see what we can do there. That we can get you out into schools even earlier than we did last year. But be looking at these and kind of look at what you want us to do. We can.
And it's also possible to combine the retreat.
Absolutely, we can do a couple of these like we did last year if we want to.
Good.
Like Ryan Buffington spent the day with us and communicating the school system message and the technology initiative that we had going on. And we can continue to do the same one if you'd like, because there's more technology that's going out. I mean, we had more technology that went out at the end of the year last year, and Ms. Finley and her team of people are getting it. We got Chromebooks all over the place.
Well, we've done the retreat now a couple of years, and it's been extremely valuable. It's wonderful to see things in action.
So be looking at those. If you have one that stands out for you, we'll talk about it at our next board meeting, and we'll come up with our 3 and come up. You got to do 4, but if we can combine 2, like at a retreat, then we'll have 3. There's 2 retreats.
Maybe.
Care to do
there's no reason we couldn't.
No.
We could do a spring and a fall. If there's logistically a way to
We can
combine
talk
2
to
and 2.
Justin and see if that's a possibility.
Is that something the board would like us to explore? It sounds like it is.
I'd like to look at it.
Okay, there you go.
Got to.
We'll have that ready for you at the next meeting then.
Absolutely.
No actions needed at this time.
No, sir.
All right, so let's look at personnel sheet. If you can pull that up. Sheet dated July 11, 2019. Mr. Chair, I refer to you as needed executive session.
Mike? Here. Jim? Real good.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'll make recommendations. These are pending completion of paperwork and background check. For the position of teacher, I make 3 recommendations. Heather Aids, Sean Aids, and Jordan Thiel, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to that effect, please.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation of Christy Adams as a teacher at 49%, pending completion of paperwork, background check, and approval from TRS as such. Christy Adams.
That motion, please.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second. Those in favor?
Thank you. The next recommendation is Marcy Harper, who is currently employed with us, but at 45%, to increase her to 49% status. Make that recommendation, Mr. Chair.
That motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two recommendations for paraprofessional that I'll take together, and this is, again, pending completion of paperwork and background check, Sage Cassidy and Carly Bernhardt, paraprofessional, Mr. Chair.
That motion, please.
So move.
Second. Those.
Thank you. Next recommendation is for Brandy Holloway, technology specialist.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Next recommendation is for Amanda, also known as Mandy Henderson, as a secretary and school student information specialist.
May we have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
All right, and we have two recommendations for the transportation department. Take these together, Dana Imler and Brandon Tipton.
That motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Okay, our next recommendation is for a substitute teacher, and this is a retired educator in Fannin County School System. Ask Kim Cribbs, substitute teacher, Mr. Chair.
We have that motion and a second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Thank you, and the recommendations for substitute nutrition, all these are pending completion of paperwork and background check. We'll take these together. Joyce Marie Allman, Tara Dillard, and Brandy Allman, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion to that effect. Second. Those in favor? Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. That concludes our personnel sheet. That takes us to comments. And I want to thank all who visited or participated in some way in our meeting tonight, whether it was online or here in person with us. Thank you. I'd like to recognize, and you opened our meeting, our call meeting at 5:30 up with your presentation. I'd like to recognize Ms. Wynn for her hard work and dedication to the school district. I appreciate how she's come in. She's observed and analyzed our processes, and I respect the ideas that she brings to the table. We all benefit from her experience and her expertise, and that's the faculty, staff, students, and the taxpayers of whom we have respect here at Fannin County. So thank you. Fine job. Sarah Welch, great job. Mr. Price, also with her, great job. Mr. Chofie, thank you for your presentation, and as well as Sheriff Kirby and Mr. Queen. Glad to have you here, and thank you for sharing with us. It's always good to remember the past. It helps us respect where we are today and that hard work and dedication that got us here. Just like the decisions that you're making today are an investment in tomorrow, just the same. I'd like to give a special shout out to our custodians and our maintenance personnel. I've been to, between today and yesterday, I've been to all 5 of the schools, and they are working hard to prepare for a new school year. This is the time when we're able to do things in the buildings and to the facilities and the parking lots and all of that that get us ready for the next school year. And they're doing a fantastic job, and you are too, Mr. Mann. You did a great job in your presentation. You took effect June 1. And you jumped in and you presented us with 17 pages of things throughout the schools that you've led, and you've been very busy this month and very productive. Thank you. I'd also like to give a shout out to our data personnel, our folks up at the Tech Center. We've got Aaron here who worked in tech support. You survived a power outage. And I sat in that chair for 10 years, and I don't know that we ever had a power outage. And things just recovered. You know, when tech runs smoothly, that means that so much is going on in the background to make it that way. And I commend y'all for that. And the work that you're doing right now to enter students and get things ready for the next school year. Do a great job. Our law enforcement, as I mentioned, thank Kirby a moment ago, the support of law enforcement. They've been also working hard and doing drills and preparing and reacquainting themselves with our facilities and working hard over the summer in our schools, and we welcome them. They're grateful for their presence. And finally, those students in the TSA and the FCCI, how awesome is that? We have so much here in Fannin County to thank you for, and so appreciative. Thank you, Board. Mr. Chair, I'll go back over to you.
Board member report. Give the ticket and the table back to me.
I certainly appreciate this. Read everything Michael said. But definitely reiterate what Terry had said, Mike, or Matt said about pre-K. How excited we were to have all that.
Absolutely.
Every elementary school member was does a lot for our system. Speaking on technology, I had a little issue, talked to you about, couldn't get on assembly. In just a matter of a few seconds, Michael made an email. I had more support than I've ever had in my life.
Well, within just a few minutes, we had Marianne Walker's over here filling in for Scott, running for those of you watching us online right now, thank you, Marianne. Marianne jumped right in.
Yeah, it sure did. I want to say thank you for that. Yeah. I mean, in a matter of seconds, I had it done, and that was everything I needed to be able to do was there. So.
And this was like 7 p.m. on a weeknight.
On a weeknight, correct. Certainly.
Mary Ann, I got a printer issue I need to talk to you about. It's just amazing to get to attend these meetings and hear the reports, the progress, potential. It's just remarkable. I got to tell you, I was excited when we were doing so well at recent. And then we have students competing at the top levels in the state, and now we're in the top 10 in the nation. That's pretty remarkable. And it makes me feel very good inside, you know, we're providing the technology and the tools that they need to compete at that level. And of course, we have the super smart team that's sitting in the room, so thank you all for all you do. You make us look awfully good here at Fannin County.
I'd like to say that I appreciate everybody coming out, and Mike, I did enjoy that walk back. I can remember going to Epworth School, what it was like then, and I'm so glad that we can offer children a lot better accommodations today than what we had way back then. Ms. Welch?
I was reminiscing too, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
About that whole process.
Edward Elementary, representing back here.
Was it Mountain View that you said you drunk before you?
Diet Mountain Dew.
Oh, Diet Mountain.
Today it was a venti coffee.
Anyhow, I just appreciate all the enthusiasm that you provide when you do a presentation. You know, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, you can't talk about something you don't know about. And I appreciate the sheriff and being here. And over there is Denver. You're ready for the buses, are you, Dean?
Yes, sir.
I saw all of them out at the garage being final tuned and whatever it takes to get them out on the road. I'm going to ask you again, you know, we talked about the thing that you were going to use on the bus on Highway 5.
Yes, sir.
Is that going to happen this year?
I believe so. It's in the works.
Okay.
We've made some.
I think that'd be a great thing once I heard about what it did and all that. And I appreciate everybody who made their presentation. Susan, that was a great job. Yeah, 4 minutes. Great. Matt, the school continues to do good, and I appreciate that. Mr. Y'all done forgot some names. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm an old man, I forget y'all. I appreciate you at the school down there at West Fannin. I think you're gonna have my great granddaughter down there, so you may see me a lot.
Good.
Yeah. She's one of them new ones. She decided to come to school. Anyhow, appreciate everybody being here. You're up. Go.
Well, I'm excited about the competitive spirit that we see from all the kids and the challenges going to California. That's pretty awesome. I have a competitive spirit, so that excites me. You know, we see a lot of football and stuff like that, and this is a lot of things people don't see. That competitive spirit. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of our school as a whole. I had the opportunity last week to be in Pennsylvania, actually go through some private schools, and you know, I got racially profiled as being a Southern white guy, and that's who our school is. And I wish they could just sit at graduation and see all the diversity that is in our school system. And, from the valedictorian to, everyone that was presented there was just awesome. And so it became an eye-opening experience for them. Because, being in the South, they just automatically profile us that way. And so I'm very proud of our school. I thank you, Mike, for all the work that you've done. No 11 o'clock nights for me yet, although I have my granddad sitting over here to the right. I'm just kidding.
You don't have to do that when you got money.
No, but it's awesome, and I'm so grateful again. Sometimes he's given a lot of accolades out, but I'm thankful for our superintendent and the work that, how he dedicates himself 365 to this school. I'm thankful for that.
I thank y'all as a board. I think brought in the team. I agree with every word that's been said by board members. Mr. Walker. With that, I would recognize Mr. Sosby for his past effort in Fannin County to help our county. And close by saying tonight, if there's ever been anyone that laid a foundation for our children's kids first, he should get the honors. And I think of the things that he dealt with, and he led the board. He was a strong, never wavered. I appreciate it.
It wasn't me, I had a lot of great help. We were just all a team working together like you guys are, just trying to pull the same direction and get to where we wanted to be in the future. And, so it wasn't me. We had great guys like you and other board members that really worked hard together. Everybody pulled the same direction. That's what made it work.
See, that may be where all these people get that song that they sing now, Mike. If you compliment any one of them, superintendent down, you just recited what they say. Because they are a united team, kids first. Bless our kids, we thank y'all. If there's no other comments to be made,
Motion to adjourn.
Second, third, fourth.
thank you.
Thank you, Blanche, for a good reading.